Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A view down the paddock then in the dying moments of practice. You can see the leaderboard on your left. This is a privilege information that we normally have before we come to you. But tonight you get to see it as well. These are just practice times, but the Hondas are looking mighty this evening here in the Australian Outback. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ike Sky, and this is the International Sim Drivers Association GT3 World Challenge for 2022 autumn season, round 4 from Mount Panorama. We are just waiting for the clock to count down and for the 189 car to come around to the conclusion lap. There we go. And now we go for real. The qualifying session is go. The visibility is going to be, well, how far do your headlights carry you? And all of these drivers, after so many hours of practice, finally do it for real this time. Pretty long warm-up lap, so while we're waiting for the drivers to circulate round onto some of their fast laps, let's get into the YouTube chat. Who are you? Who are you supporting? And who do you think is going to take the fights to those ahead tonight? There's a couple of penalties left to be handed out from the previous round. And as always, this season and this race is sponsored by Sim Racing Pro. Thank you very much for sponsoring this season. So, once again, thank you for Sim Racing Pro for sponsoring this season. As always, we ride with Andrew Brooker after the trials and tribulations that he's had over the past few seasons. That 130 car is looking like it deserves a result equivalent to the level of the driving that Andrew has put into ISDA over the past few years. He's a wonderful gent, and he is streaming this race over on his channel. Speaking of, in the description below, you should find the affiliated streams. So all of the drivers that are streaming this race, their links will be below. Among them is the 130 of Andrew Brooker. So if you go over there, say hi to him, say that Iconata sent him, and Yankees sent you, and hopefully we'll egg him on a bit more this race. The Porsche is not going to be the fastest of cars on this track, but you win some, you lose some when it comes to balance of performance. Riding on board with the 130 then as he goes up and over the hill, the mountain section of Mount Panorama, feathering the throttle. You have to work so hard with the undulations on this track just to keep both ends of the car in check, and now off the edge of the world he falls over Skyline, through the dipper, clean as you like, as we expect from the 130 car, back onto the throttle and down towards Forest Elbow, just holding off as he comes on the brakes there. First of the fast laps. This won't be the fastest lap that we see from any of these drivers tonight, not by any stretch of the imagination. The fuel is yet to burn off, and the drivers probably don't even have, well, at this point at the end of the straight, they definitely don't have pressure in their tyres anymore. I can tell you that one for free. As the car pitches on the bumps on Conrod Straight in towards the chase and back out. So clean, such a wonderful time to watch Andrew drive, because he's just so clean with all of his driving. Kamikaze VG bet is on Tadic for Pandemonium, apparently. Vusnic, good to see you in tonight. Shame you're not on the grid. We miss you tonight, my friend. Jonic goes across the line to set a formidable 202.765, and that's on his opening lap. We ride on board with the provisional pole sitter now. It's going to be difficult to see that time beaten, even if he goes faster, which he is already. Up out of the cutting, through Reed Park, over the crest, through the dip at Suleiman, and then the scariest part of the track for me personally, through McPhillamy Park. Keep the car nice and neutral, doesn't even touch the curb, gets right over to the other side to fall over Skyline. In towards the cutting, carrying so much speed in that NSX. You are in the race? Oh, I thought you were in the race. I was wondering, why are you doing a YouTube chat then? Come on. I see you. You're in the pits. Why are you in the pits? Oh, you've got a race, you've got a quali banner. Speaking of, let's just have a quick look at that. I can't remember which conversation this was in now. Race control. So, we got penalties, damn it. We have a couple of penalties, but I can't find them at the moment. Give me just a second while I try and find this. In the racing section. There we go. I was looking at the wrong race control chat. That's what I was doing. So, penalties that will be coming in the race. There is Aidan Doyle will receive a qualification ban and a 10-second time penalty for various faults. And as from the last race, and a bit of a setup faux pas. Oh, who's that? Is that Venter having issues? That is Venter having massive issues, and that's going up the mountain as well. Oh no, it was over Skyline, wasn't it? Through the cutting. I'm in a completely different window. So Paul Venter in the NSX having issues in that new livery for the Logistical Nightmare Racing cars. So from the last race in the wet at Monza, car 25 and car 84 breached the pit lane times, and so will receive time penalties. Will they receive that in this race, or did they get that added to their last race time? Okay, so that will be served this race, so watch for those penalties to... Oh, big hit on the side for Kostic there. And at Forest Elbow, he will park it. A lovely teleport back to the pits for him, and another go. We are approaching halfway through the qualifying session, which is normally the point at which we see a full set of times through, but we still have 5-6 drivers who haven't yet set a time. That's just how challenging Bathurst is, and we wouldn't change it for the world. Remco Langendijk, though, in one of the Victoria's Secret Racing Aston Martins, up behind Van Coyley, so possibly some teamwork to be done there in the lower echelons of the top 10. The Aston Martin's going to be formidable here, as is the Mercedes with their top speed advantage, but those Hondas just walk the top 2 positions. And Zoran Jonic currently demoted as far as 5th for the Onyx fans who might be in chat, is he doing that on purpose? I'm just trying to rile him up so that he fights harder when we get into the race. So, Remco comes down, Conrad straight. Right, so Mihailo is not doing qualification because he doesn't want to get in the way of drivers, as he's a bit fresh back to racing. But we can watch for that BMW to make his way up the field. A conservative race effort for you then, Mihailo. I mean, if you want, you can always drop in hit for a minute and gives a driver's eye perspective from where you've been practicing. That is also an opportunity for you. Jonic comes across the line, goes as far as second. Tutic is leading the way then with a 2 minutes. Oh my goodness. I was looking further down the field. That was a foolish decision. Kevin Tutic in the 34 NSX runs a 2 minute 9.22. That is on par with the very, very, very fastest of the real life GT3 drivers. That is an astonishing lap time. No, you won't die in turn 1. Everyone else will die in turn 1. All you need to do is just stay to the inside of all of the cars that are colliding off the track. What else is going on? Miksik's going very quickly. Ivan, I totally agree. That was my thought as well. Ivan, Miksik is going quickly. 8/10 up at the moment is obviously not going to be good enough for pole, but it is enough to get him up towards the sharp end of the field. If he can hold it all together, this could be a Porsche interrupting the top half of the top 10. He's across the curb on the outside, but he does make it to third position. The Pirate Racing Academy driver of Matej Miksik takes third position, still 8/10 off, but Zoran Jonic, the man who dominated last time out in Monza, has got the pressure on this time in the Australian Outback. Tutic coming up to the line. He's going to go even faster. This is astonishing. We need to have a word with him post-race and see what part of the physics engine he's broken to get that time. That is an incredible lap time. Hang on a second. I need to now. You see, now you've made me ask a question, and I need to answer it. D'Couza pushes himself up to 7th. That's another really good improvement. He's into the pits for one last go, and he's only going to have one more run of it. I would suggest he's going to need to get a shifty on if he's going to actually get a decent amount of time to get a lap in, and out he will roam. Meanwhile, the number 3 BMW, Krasnić. BMW's not really featuring at the head of this field. That's because you don't make the majority of your speed at this track by braking later than everybody else. Down into Forest Elbow and out lovely and clean. The brakes will be helping him there. Out onto Conrad Straight. He's currently 3/4 up on his previous lap time. Enough to promote him slightly further up the grid, but again, the track is in optimum condition, and it's only getting better as the rubber is put down, especially in these brake and acceleration zones. Lovely and tidy on the exit for Krasnić there. And then down on the brakes into the final corner at Murray's Corner. Gets it just on the curb beautifully. 7th position for Krisnic. Good performance. Leader of the BMW pack as well. And you can see just how hard he's having to work to get that kind of performance from the number 3 BMW. Bellato comes across the line in the 14 Mercedes and goes ahead of the 233 car, who is also going quicker too, and could well depose Bellato from his hard fought for 5th position. Our 14 car looks and sounds excellent in the night. It's a really dense night here at the mountain as well. Not much city lighting around. Oh, big kick of oversteer for the Mercedes. And thankfully, we don't need to get safety cars and red flags and all that involved, because he can just retire back to the pits. Tutic is going quicker. How is he going quicker? That's astonishing. It's only by a 1/10 of a second, but the man is approaching world record pace here. The fastest lap of any GT3 car here is a 1 minute 59.291, and that was in the Audi R8. A similar engine layout to to the NSX, but a very different performance envelope. Sorry, I was just trying to read chat then. If the guys from SimGrid, do you know what? I would love if the guys from SimGrid would watch this. That would be great. ISDA, I do think, is one of the premium championships here in ACC at the moment. They really are doing an exceptional job at their commitment to both realism and fair fighting in these very difficult conditions. Tutic is on fire at the moment. Not only does the car look fantastic, but as he comes in towards the chase for what will most likely be, actually at his pace, it could be his 3rd to last time in this qualifying session. I dare say it, he doesn't really matter what he does on the exit of this corner. He goes another 2/10 faster. That's 2 minutes 0.352 for the pole. He's basically just rubbing it into the rest of the drivers at this point. I honestly, that's just brutal. Jonic came across the line, did improve, got to within a second of that 2 minutes, but there's just something about Kevin. Oh no, I totally agree, Ivan. This is terrifying pace from Kevin tonight. Honestly, should we just get him to start from the back of the grid and see if over an hour he can make his way through everybody? As a Mercedes goes second, Mattia Mex in the 886. 2nd position, a 10th up. He went faster again. He is on par to match his previous time as he comes down through the car. I don't know what to say about this man. Honestly, I have no idea. Mex to 2nd is a dominant display from the Mercedes. We aren't used to seeing that kind of front-running pace from the aging AMG. But my goodness, it's a very quick car. Is that Mercedes? I'm sure he is hanging on to that bruiser of a Mercedes. Over the top of the hill, the slightest of rubs against the Onco barrier. You don't want to hit that too hard. It's the entire earth that's going to fight back at you. Over Skyline he comes. Bit of grounding out across the curbs and the 4-wheel slide going through the cutting. That is terribly brave from Mex. And you can see why as you look at the split times. Half a second up Oh my goodness, and now he's going to get dragged down Conrod Straight as well. This could be a critical lap for the Mercedes driver. It's not going to get him to pole, but it could secure second on the grid and potentially a shot at the outside of turn 1 on that Honda NSX. Beautifully tidy. Oh, but a bit wide and a touch on the wall. That's going to be it for Mex. That is going to be it as well with the damage on the car. He drifts into the pits, but that was an astonishing lap on the way for Mattia Mex. Oh man, and in the dying moments of qualifying, this is all becoming a little bit exciting. Sanel Tadic is 0.2 up on his previous. That has potential to push him further up the grid. The BMW's at a place in the grid at the moment. But Tadic looking to separate himself from Krasnić in the timing screens. Meanwhile, Tulic is 0.2 up as well for the Pirate Racing Dalmatia car. Who's that? Tadic got it all wrong. That's such a shame for Sanel there. Stulic, meanwhile, 0.2 up as he comes across the top of the mountain and falls off the other side. 0.2 would get him, a position if he can hold it all together through the final sector. A kick of sparks from the rear diffuser on the brakes into Forest Elbow. Now the Ferrari will stay on the outside and keep the racing line clear. This is a quick lap from another NSX, the 233 car, with the most difficult job in the world now. 2 more braking zones, and they are big. 3 minutes 50 remaining on the sector. He gets a kick of the outside, gets right back to the other side for the braking zone, get the car nice and stable on the braking, hook the curb on the inside and on the other side through the chase, down towards Murray's Corner for the final time in this session. He is 0.4 up on the entry. He eschews the inside curbs, leans slightly on the outside, and goes as high as 4th. It is 3 Hondas on the first 2 rows of the grid, and suddenly what was an exciting qualifying session comes to a dramatic finish. Bellato, meanwhile, comes across the line, will not go any higher than 7th, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is it. So as the drivers get their cars set up, it is 7 o'clock in the morning as the grid forms a full warm-up lap. We have plenty of time to discuss what we have to look forward to. That Mercedes does look very, very troubling on the outside row at the front of the grid. It's a very quick car in the straight line. The NSX is quick. We're going to find out very quickly which one is faster. Kevin Tudic is going to lead them from the grid. Mattia Mex alongside in that Mercedes. Zoran Jonic in 3rd in the second NSX, with Kevin Stulic demoted in the end to 4th. D'Couza will take his NSX to 5th, with Miksik, the first of the Porsches, in 6th position. Really good showing for Miksik there in the Pirate Racing Academy car. Bellato is in the 14 AMG in 7th, with Sanel Tadic in 8th position. But again, watch that BMW for some big performance as we enter the race. Igor Krasnić in a sister BMW, perhaps some mark mates working together as they come through the grid. Nida Zak in the first of the Ferraris in 10th position. Ferraris possibly struggling for fuel in this race. The Aston Martin of Dan Minton is 11th, with the R8 Evo, first of the Audi R8s, in 12th position for Arlavi. Van Coyle is in 13th, with the Pride of the South, Andy Brooker, in 14th position. Remco Langdijk, the sister AMR V8, in 15th, with the other Ferrari 488 of Slobodan Kostic in 16th. 17th is Zoricic in the 175 R8. Levy will start from 18th. Miljevic will start the 720S from 19th position. Good to see the McLaren represented still on the grid. Berlas in the 99 Audi will start from 20th. 21st will be Dunster in the Porsche 911 GT3R Pirate Racing Academy car. Miljevic will start from 22nd in another McLaren 720S, so pretty cars down the bottom end of the grid. Noel Bullion will start from 23rd in an SX Evo. Masic will start from 24th in the Audi R8. Paul Venter will start from 25th, and Vucinic will start from 26th in the AKLR LS Racing Team BMW. That is your grid, and as the timer counts down to 0 and our drivers roll off on their formation lap, let's say another thank you to Sim Racing Pro for sponsoring this season. Once again, thank you to Sim Racing Pro for sponsoring this season and this race. It makes everything so much easier when you can rely on both your equipment and the support that you get coming to you live from wherever we are in the world tonight. One of the best things about sim racing is how it's brought men and women from around the world together. All different ages take part in this pastime, and all you need is a couple of £100 for a wheel and a couple of £100 for a PC. Thank goodness the silicon shortage is on its way out. Good evening once again to JR in chat. Steve Minton, great to see you in chat again. Ivan Vugrinich? It just occurred to me that I haven't tried to say your surname all evening. I'm so sorry for that. Complex Design in chat too. Mihailo Vucinic, we see at the back of the grid, was in chat earlier. Leave your messages to leave your messages of support for everybody. Remember, this live chat is going to be alongside the video on demand, so everything you get posted here will be there. Fuji. Oh, okay, Fuji. I'm cool. That's cool. That's work. We can work with that. That's absolutely fine. Yes, so there were a couple of penalties from the last race that were carried over to this race. Just as a reminder, before we get going, remember, an hour of racing here, and believe me, if anything can happen in the next 30 minutes, imagine what two of those at the mountain can do. Aidan Doyle will has received a qualification ban, but I don't think he's here tonight. Okay, so he has withdrawn from the league. That's absolutely fine. So that penalty will not carry over. However, car 25 and car 84, the two cars that you see with penalties, were found to have breached the pit stop times from the last race at Monza, so they will be getting penalties more or less equivalent, a couple of second penalties there for them in this race, which they will serve at their pit stops. So they took it at Monza, they will pay it back at the mountain. The horde of GT3 cars come flying towards us down Comroe Straight as they try to get into 2x2 fashion. JR has a lot more faith in the Porsche than I do at this track. But same as always, take a breath. It's going to be the last one you're going to be able to take for a good few minutes as the drivers are lined up. 2 by 2 they come around Murray's corner and come to the line. We wait for the segment at the top of the screen to go green. Can we have a helicopter camera please for this start?
Green light.
Thank you very much. Green light. We come to the green light and down in towards Hell Corner. They come for the first time. The Mercedes has an overlap. The NSX does have to keep that tight line, but will survive onto the outside. There's yellow flags out as someone has gone wide. But a very clean lap, as always, from our ISDA drivers. The Mercedes is under threat from the NSXs behind. The Pirate Racing car of Jonic pushing up the inside and will get past in the end. Meanwhile, Tutic has just walked away from the rest of the field. A sideways moment. That was the second of the NSXs as the timing screens go insane for just a moment. Give us a second. As the Ferrari tries to look up the inside, it's a difficult place to look on the inside of Griffin's Mount there. Jonic gets to second then. The NSX of Studic behind. The two teammates are going to be able to work together in those Pirate Racing cars. Down through the skyline and the dipper they come for the first time. And they say that motor racing isn't poetry. Look at the snake of tarmac that guides the cars down to the base as the 96 car gets it all very wrong and a touch on the outside wall. Don't worry, we're going to see plenty of that through the course of the race. Remco Langendijk, meanwhile, is trying to defend against the Ferrari, I believe, yes, but struggling at the moment. That Ferrari's super fast in a straight line, but remember, fueling issues for the Ferraris here. They don't have quite enough fuel, as that's an Audi off in the background. Zoricic takes the grass and the gravel route through the chase. Not quite the racing line, but we respect it as the 96 car got a poor exit, it looks like, from the final corner. Fighting against Miksik in the 96 is Senel Tadic, looking to make time in that BMW. I think the death at the chase, that was very much just someone missing their braking point. Oh, big slide for the Porsche. Massive slide for the Porsche, who gets elbowed out of the racing line and out of about 5 positions there, I think, for Tadic. Not Tadic, sorry, the 96 car. Miksik asked a little bit too much in this early stage of the race of those tyres as they went through quarry for the second time, and that was all she wrote. Through the dip they come. It's still on 80%. I think everybody is set on 80% for Kevin tonight. This is going to be a difficult... Oh, as Brookers gets shoved off the track, it looks like, as he already got damage there. Oh, you're kidding. So Kostic has made contact with the 130 again. Ah, you thought he would have learned. Oh, it was a shove as well on the exit. This is the problem. This is the problem with the mountain, is that all of these cars have their own way of making speed, and you have to respect them. You have to respect the other drivers on the track. There's no way that you could possibly drive in ignorance here. As Zoricic goes for the outbraking maneuver on 96 again, gets it cleanly to a stop this time. The tyres not yet complaining at him that he decided to go rally crossing with them instead of sticking to the road. And that 175 car is actually looking quite fast. Dunster looks like he's having issues in that number 4 Porsche as well. That's a lot of damage on that car. Maybe he can slow down Kevin Tutic. He's the only person who can at this point. Leading from the front is the 34 car. Meanwhile, Pilato's in the hunt on Nidazak in the 89 car. And this is why I signed in here. So across the top of the mountain they come. Second time under racing conditions. It's all starting to become a little bit more civil now as the cars start to space themselves out for the first half of this stint. Remember, 10 minutes across the centre of the race is where the pit window is. 4 tyres, no fuel, and any damage that you've sustained can be repaired. But as they get out onto Conrad Straight, the Porsche tucked up underneath the rear wing of the Audi. Alavi really doesn't have to do much to keep the Porsche behind at the moment. He has the brakes, he has the straight line speed. It's the cornering capability and the traction where the Porsche shines, and you just can't do anything with that at the moment as they come into Murray's corner. The pack will stay as they are, it looks like. Very sensible and safe driving for the most part. Same as we see normally from ISDA. Dan Minton, meanwhile, hunting the back of the BMW. He might actually have quite a bit of pace over the car in front. He's already deposed of Igor Krisnich in the number 3 car, now hunting the 84. Not really in this fight is Tadic with that 15-second penalty. So as they come across the top of the hill, the aero effect off the back of that BMW just getting to Minton as they come across Skyline and through the dip up, so called because the undulation is so high that you can actually lift a wheel off on the inside as you take that right hand corner, because that corner isn't scary enough as it is. Back out onto Conrad Straight, and this is where the drivers breathe for possibly the first time in about 30 seconds as they traverse the top of the mountain, and then the almighty heave onto the brake pedal into the chase. Both slightly overcooking it. Bit of a four-wheel slide for Minton, possibly cooking those tyres ever so slightly tucked up underneath the BMW's rear wing. He needs to get past this 84 car, but it looks as though the BMW's just about got the measure of him. Race control.
This is the race control, investigating incident between cars number 4, 15 and 25, lap 1, turn 1.
As Minton gets the overlap, he got the drive off of the corner. Can he do it on the outside through Quarry Bend? However, he's on the brakes, he's holding his line. The BMW sits right to the inside. Side by side they will come out of the corner and up towards the cutting they will come. Aston gave best to the BMW, but now the BMW's offline, can't get the traction down. The Aston Martin once again on the outside. Minton being very brave here. They say you can't pass on the mountain, and for the time being that remains the truth. But he has now fallen back in towards the BMW and the Ferrari and the Mercedes. And this battle in the lower half of the top 10, led by a car with a 15-second penalty, so nowhere near this fight come the pit stops. Michael Massey has a nice voice. This is him in Australia, right? No. No, our race direction is far better than Formula One's. Do you know what? I don't even feel bad for saying that. It's just genuinely the truth. My goodness. I can't believe they took a World Endurance car, a World Endurance Championship race director and said, yeah, no, you're not very good, you don't make it exciting enough. Big slide from the M4, bigger slide from the Aston Martin. But the Aston Martin got the traction down. Is he going to go for a look up the inside? You can't do that on the BMW. Ferrari looks to the inside behind, and it is a look up the inside from Kostic on the BMW. Side by side, they'll come out. Oh, it's Zach. Neither Zach, I'm very sorry. I saw the white Ferrari and made an assumption. But the 89 car got alongside. That was an almighty dive for the Ferrari. I didn't think that was possible against the BMW, but now with a lack of drive on to Mountain Straight, the Mercedes looks to the outside. Don't worry, we're still looking at the Aston Martin as well. Oh, he outbraked himself. So the Ferrari looks up the inside, gets it done. On the defensive. Anyway, the BMW goes around the outside of Minton. Minton just overcooked himself in towards Quarry Bend. It's all coming off in these 5-6 positions. Where are we even going back to at this point? Alavi is getting involved in the 189 Audi as well. My goodness. Over Skyline they come again then for Nida Zach. Spectating one of the better fights that we've seen here at the mountain. Oh, Kostic meanwhile looks like he has made a mistake. Are we going to go to We are. So coming through, Suleiman got that okay. Keeps it off the wall. Through McPhillamy, slices of lifts, it's clean there, over Skyline he will come, oh, and gets it very wrong. He will be very lucky to have escaped with in that Ferrari. Was that touch? Did you see a touch on the inside wall, or was that just a kick of oversteer that he overcorrected? It was just the oversteer, okay. I wasn't sure. I didn't think he was far enough over to get a touch on the inside wall, but a big slide again. The rear diffuser has taken some damage. The 130 car, with whom the 51 has already been involved with once this race, will take the position back, but the Ferrari's faster in a straight line. And we will come back to the fight for 6th? Let's say 6th. As the Ferrari will lose out to the Mercedes once and for all this time. Nida Zach just taking a little bit too much speed into Quarry Bend and is not able to keep the tyres sticking to the road properly. He went on the slippery side of the road. It was a hit on the wall. It was a hit on the wall then, Ivan. Thank you. Hang on, let me give me a second. This is the joy of having a race director that can control the cameras, is I can now go and have a look at the 51 and see, oh, as this is Burlas, Joseph Burlas in the 99 has got it all very wrong. Into the Audi cutting, he will come, and that is one of the NSXs for Logistical Nightmare Racing, trying to find a way past. It's close enough that I don't think it's going to be that sort of issue. Oh, just gets on the curb. Just gets on the curb and clatters the NSX into the wall for good measure. So the mountain has struck, I think, for the first time this race.
This is the race control. Stop and go 10 seconds penalty for car number 25 for causing a collision. Now investigating incident between cars 7 and 175, lap 1, turn 21.
So, plenty of investigations going on. And, as always, these they are all impartial. They are all very much focused on the same rules and regulations and principles as all of the others. You won't find any favoritism or gaming or anything like that of the regulations here. It was not a touch on the inside wall at the top of Skyline. I can confirm that. I am worried about that rejoin though for Kostic. It's a difficult circumstance at that particular track. Ask me how I know. But nonetheless, it was a potentially iffy rejoin. I believe that there will be some leeway given from race control. However, it's not an easy corner to recover from or to have any kind of accident for. Neither Zach now falling off the pace of Bellato in the 14. How do I know? Oh my goodness. I took part in another championship in which I, for some reason, decided to take the Aston Martin V12. Something to do with how good the noise is or something like that. And was going over Skyline and essentially got scared off the racing line by a BMW M4 behind that was much faster than me. Oh, as Niall Bullion's got it all wrong. That is at Forest Elbow, I think. But he will, yeah, just get it all very wrong. That NSX is not treating the LNR guys very nicely at all at the moment. A lot of work needing to be done. 10 seconds in 7 laps. Yep, that's exactly what it is. And Jonic, meanwhile, which I am almost galled to say after his dominant display last time out, 1.7 seconds off the back of the number 80 of Dakusa. Oh, and who's this? Marsic. Was that just pulling to one side, a lap down? No, it's a stop go 30. Does he pit for damage? It's a stop and hold 30, I would assume, for speeding in the pit lane. But by the looks of it, he needed to be in the pit lane and stay there for a bit to have that damage repaired. Heartbreaking for Ivan Marsic then. But yeah, so I was taking part. Go faster, how not to kill us. Oh, I know. No, absolutely. No, as I say, at that point in time, the M4 was even more overpowered than it currently is in the braking zones, and I had quite a bit of experience with being dive bombed by inconsiderate M4 drivers in this game. So when I saw an M4 behind me going over Skyline and getting rather close for comfort, I basically got very scared off of the racing line and did exactly what Kostic did then. Only I didn't spin. I kept it in a straight line, but to keep it in a straight line, I had to apply some throttle. So essentially, straight lined Skyline and the S's rejoined at the dipper straight into the side of the BMW that actually hadn't tried to dive bomb me, but the rearview mirror was telling me otherwise, and I'd had a lot of bad experiences with M4s. Ask anybody. I don't like these cars. I'm sure they're fantastic to drive, but yeah, they are not balanced to the rest of the grid by any stretch of the imagination. Thankfully, they don't have to be at this point in time. They have a bit of space around them now, with the 84 and the 3 pretty much on their own by a second either side, if not a bit more. Alvari, meanwhile, trying to hunt down the 89 of Nida Zak and doing a pretty decent job of it as well as they come out of the spares box. Dipper down through Forest Elbow. Now the Ferrari should have the straight line speed. Yeah, so it's just a little bit of a mistake perhaps by Nida Zak that dropped him back towards the 189. Is this Marsic? Marsic through the pits again. Ah, right. So that is the stop-go penalty that's been served. So Marsic will drop to the back of the field. Really unfortunate then for him. But through Hell Corner, they come for Alvari and Zak. Alvari, I keep saying it wrong. I don't know why I keep saying it wrong. Wonderful helicopter shots for that 189 Audi up towards Quarry Bend. And now they become the long, arduous climb up the hill. Reminder to everybody that this is a public road. You can take your streetcar around the majority of the mountainers. Vucinic has got it all wrong. It's the start-finish straight. He's got it sideways. He's out on his own, so plenty of time to get it back around. On the brakes into the final corner, that Audi's getting dangerously close. Manages to pull it away a bit. Oh, but the BMW outbrakes himself, hits the curb on the wall, gets contact with the Audi, and then contact on the inside wall. That's going to be quite a bit of damage for 92, and then just for good measure, rear ends it into the wall on the outside. Difficult conditions then up until we get to the pit stops for Vucinic in the 92. Vucinic. Yeah. I haven't invented any letters there. Back to this fight over 10th. Audi still trying to hunt. That's a really good question, actually. Which car does sound best from the inside? On this track, I think on this track, I do think it is the Aston Martin. Oh, Venter goes to the pits. Is this a pit stop for damage, or is this a retirement? Is that a death then, Mihail? Come and have a word with us, my friend, if you're not going to be going back on track. Wait, you are? No, he's in the pits, okay.
This is the race control. No further action regarding investigation of collision between cars 7 and 175. Now investigating incident between cars 96 and 84, lap 2, turn 2.
So 96 and 84 is Miksic and Tadic. That's going to be an interesting decision. And even more critically, a 15-second penalty for Tadic at the moment. If it was deemed to be Sanel's fault, there is more time to be added at his pit stops. Here race control need to get it sorted quickly, however, because there is only 30 seconds until the pit window opens. These BMWs might actually be in prime location for the stop, so it's not going to be them, but it might be someone just behind. I should have stuck by my word. Yeah, no. They would absolutely have been able to. So Mihail made a small mistake on lap 1, had aero damage, binned it in the last corner, almost killed the Audi. Come and speak to us, Mihail. Come on. So the pit window is now open. Has been for a couple of seconds now. Who is the first to pit? Igor Van Coytley pulling a strategy move. Van Coytley to the pits. Kostic to the pits. These will count. The brief reprieve for the drivers, pulling the first of the strategy calls in this race. A lot of space to be had in these early stages, as the drivers will literally be on their own when they leave the pits. Just going to... Van Coytley is away and rolling. He is just going to be ahead of the leader by a couple of seconds, by the start-finish straight actually, but now has the best part of half a lap in front of him with which to make clear air and fast runs on fresh rubber. Kostic out of the pits as well. He will go a lap down, but the only car in front of him is the leader, who I have a feeling may be slightly quicker than the 51 Ferrari. Into turn 1 then for the second and third drivers. Stulic has fallen away by a manner of... wonderful. So we ride on board with the Mercedes for a full lap as we fight against the NSX on the inside. We've seen it tried many a time. Is it going to be the time of the Mercedes? No, not this time. Let's enjoy a moment of peace with a thumping great V8 in the front of Mercedes, and by far and away one of the best pieces of tarmac that you will ever find in the world. Well, we were planning a lovely, peaceful lap of the mountain with the Mercedes, but the number 80 car has put pay to that with an astonishing miscalculation. Big leap over the curb, unsettled the car, then tried to get on the brakes like normal. The back came round, and that was a trip into the wall and to the gravel for the number 80 of Dacusa. A safe rejoin, but now a lot of work to do. Really, really lucky that he made that mistake while the pit lane was open which allowed him to drop straight in with minimal time loss. Now Tulic has been in and out of the pits. Where is he on the track? Come to think of it, there's no small accidents on the mountain. There's no small accidents anywhere on this track. There is absolutely none. You never have a small accident at this track. Tutic, as he comes up towards the cutting, has been demoted as far as 11th. So all of that pace, but he still can't lead from start to finish. It's only going to be for a couple of laps. And Minton has started making work towards the BMWs again. Tadic has fallen behind the number 3 car. This is where Minton normally works his magic, is in the pit window. Is he going to make it happen this time? Goes to the outside for the kink. Round the outside, has the inside line for the chase. Will make it look easy on the 84 car. Gets the traction out of the chase as well. Once again, BMW trying to push him into the corner, but that is not going to happen. But the number 3 car falls into the pits. This is where Minton shines. He's got a lap to make something happen. As Brooker fighting with the 720S of Miljevic for 9th and 10th position. Last of the non-pitters so far. Difficult fight for the Porsche. 720S isn't slow in the straights. But the Porsche, with that rear wing creating a vacuum underneath, just about starting to gain. Can he use that over the top of the mountain, however? Oh, stop go for Alavi for speeding in the pit lane. 189 car is going to drop well out of contention. It's not a long pit lane here, but the pack is very, very closely spaced at the moment. Oh. I just realized I haven't done an onboard corner by corner lap yet. Has it really been that busy today? Oh, as Levy gets it wrong. Number 15 car looks like he's got oversteer on the exit of the chase.
This is
really easy mistake to make as the Porsche tries to make a cut up the inside. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the race control join us.
This is race control. Warning for car number 96 for causing collision.
Thank you. Porsche on the outside, McLaren on the inside. They are neck and neck as far as top speed go. Meanwhile, the aggregate leader is trying to side their way through. This is for position. Not for long, because the Porsche and the McLaren will have to pit this time by. There we go. Into the pits they both come. And now it's the race of the pit crews, as I think the McLaren got it wrong. I think the McLaren got it wrong. Got it very wrong, in fact. That camera shot is so terrible. Yeah, that was the silliest of mistakes, but this is just how hard the mountain is. Even the pit entry tried to get on the brakes. It was a last-minute decision. He was trying to decide whether he was able to do another lap, saw the time, but was going too quick for the pit entrance. You can't do that here. You need to have some kind of planning. You need to have some kind of goal of how and you need to be thinking ahead here. You can't just drive by the seat of your pants like you do with these modern FIA sanctioned circuits, this track is brutal. It's so brutal, in fact, that when you have the longer endurance races here, the 6 and the 12 hours, the expression goes, the mountain chooses who will win. This track, it has a personality, it has a mood, and Kevin Tudich at the moment in the Baby Godzilla NSX has tamed it.
The pit window is closing now.
At the moment, number 7 Miljevic still in the pits with quite a bit of front end damage. Will drop off of jacks and get rolling. But now a very different fight for all of our drivers. The 3 car still behind Minton. Minton actually 1.2 seconds behind Mex. This could be an opportunity for Minton to start making some moves towards those podium positions. Neither Zach, meanwhile, now hunting the 14 Mercedes, which was in the midst of that battle before. Actually, Bellato has, I think, got out of that quite handily. Stop-go is still there for Alavi. So he needs to be careful. This could be a problem as Takuza is back in the pits with damage. The AT car, his evening going from bad to worse. Igor Van Coyle, meanwhile, up behind. Which Porsche was that? It is Brooker. So once again, freshly repaired, out of the pits, Brooker once again dropped back into the fray. A couple of positions higher than he was, but still on the defensive from the 55 car. Very much on the defensive as well already, taking a defensive line. The Porsche, the Aston Martin tries to get the cutback. The straight up towards the cutting is not long enough for him to do anything clever there. Millimeters separating them from the walls. If they're going to stay close. Ooh, that was a very interesting line by the 130. Looks like possibly a touch on the wall, but it was so close. Over Skyline they come. This is where the Porsche is going to be one of a kind. If this fight stays together, I'm going to ask our darling race director to jump on board with Van Coyle as they come across the line, and I'm going to do a corner by corner of this track. Every time, this is one of the things with sim racing. Every time I get behind the mic, I just think, oh, I could be driving it. Van Coyle must be having the time of his life trying to hunt that Porsche as they come down Comrose straight in towards the chase. Listen to the roar. 17th time, 17th lap. There's still 20 minutes to go. Plenty of time. Now, this isn't going to be your usual lap where all of the words are spoken at a million miles an hour. We have a lot of time, but across the line for a lap of Mount Panorama on the brakes of the 50 mark in towards Hell Corner, down 2 gears. It's always a toss-up between second and third, and all you're trying to do is forget about the corner. You are setting up for Mountain Straight. Get all the traction you possibly can. 1 mile per hour difference at the start of this straight can make all the difference by the time you come to the end of it. You get a spot in the distance of your quarry bend, and this is where the mountain really starts to bite. Lovely and tidy from both of these drivers through third, fourth gear, up through the kink, in towards the cutting they come. Leave as little as you can on either side, but remember that the world is what you are fighting here. There's no tyres, there is no safety. you hit the wall, and it has put people in hospital from being winded through Griffins, Reed, Suleiman Park. They come over McPhillamy, they come little bit of a balance on the throttle for the Aston Martin, then off the edge of the world at Skyline, the right, left, right into the dipper. Not quite able to pick a gear for Igor Van Coyle. So important as they come down through Shannon's Bend and then down into Forest Elbow again. Another corner you're not really caring too much about. It's all about the exit, and the Porsche has got a better one. Out onto Conrad Straight they come, cranking through the gears. And this is where the top speed of the Aston Martin will keep him within touching distance of the 130 Porsche. But a very difficult fight now for Van Coyle, who wasn't able to get the launch off of Forest Elbow in towards the chase. Added for because there was no way of extending the runoff area into Murray's Corner. Speak of the devil, look at the marks on the right hand side, brake at the lamppost, and that is a lap of the Mount Panorama circuit, one of the best circuits and my personal favourite circuits in the world. Absolutely astonishing bucket list item to go as well, especially with the Aussie V8 touring cars circulating there. Miljevic is in the pits. I think this will be a retirement for the 998. And is it Skyline that claims another victim? It wasn't Skyline. Oh, it was the Dipper. It was the Dipper. He made it as far as the right, but not as far as the left. Unsettling that mid-engine carbon fiber tub. Still the only car in this field that uses a carbon fiber monocoque, believe it or not, is that 720S. Did you know that? The McLaren's the only one that uses a carbon fiber monocoque. All the others are still a traditional chassis and suspension layouts. The 720S, they actually had to replace the entire suspension system with a traditional suspension system because the FIA wouldn't and the ACO wouldn't allow their hydraulically linked suspension system to be in GT3 because it was basically overpowered. Ah, fascinating. Fascinating. These works of art on four wheels, and even everything down to the tyres. Just absolute art in their design. Porsche didn't get a good exit off of the chase this time around, but goes defensive. That's going to compromise his exit speed. This is not the place where you compromise your exit speed. 55 car tries to get a cutback. Can't get it done. Porsche goes straight to the inside, but the Aston Martin tries to go further in. Realizes it's not going to happen, so now it's just a setup for Mountain Straight. Tries to get the cutback again. Porsche has the traction, but does he have the top speed? He's as close as he's been. A wiggle up and down across the track. It's a good job they weren't alongside, but they are now as they come up towards Quarry Corner. We've seen so many mistakes made, and another one. This is for the Aston Martin. Tried to live on the outside of the Porsche, but there's just too much rear-end traction. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want more technical details? Are you trying to tell me that you don't get that from other sim racing commentators? It's almost as if I'm a driver and a fan or something. You want more technical details? I'll give you them. That's absolutely fine. The Porsche 911 GT3R, the car that the Aston Martin is chasing, still rear-engined, but only just. They actually used a different style of gearbox. Yeah, right. They actually used a different style of gearbox, very similar to the VW Beetle and the Subaru, funnily enough. Gearboxes that allows them to put the entirety of the gearbox, clutch plate included, in front of the of the differential and the drive shafts. So essentially, it don't tempt me. I will go back on Mount Panorama as well. Back to 2016 when the McLaren 650S won, which was just an excellent win. Oh, the Porsche's got outbraked himself. This could be an opportunity for the Aston Martin. They're going to be side by side. The Porsche doesn't defend this time. He knows the Aston Martin's too far alongside, but the Porsche might be able to get it done on the outside. No, the 130 gives best to the Aston, and that is a position gained for Van Coyle. Back to the Porsche, however, as we ride along board with that 130 car, now damage-free and shiny as a fresh button. So yeah, Porsche have been slowly moving that engine forward and forward and forward, to the point where with the GTE car, because of the looseness of those regulations, they actually turned the engine round. Used exactly the same engine and gearbox, but this time had the gearbox sat out over the back of the car and the engine in front. What that meant was that they could get a much bigger diffuser underneath and in between the gearbox, which gave them a lot better aero performance. That's not how GT3 works, as the Aston gets a massive kick through McPhillamy Park. This fight isn't over. Brooker can smell blood in the water for the Aston Martin. He's cooked his tyres trying to get Brooker to make a mistake, but the staunch defence of Andrew Brooker, once again, the widest Porsche that you can find on a track, is hunting for that 12th position. So yeah, with the GTE Porsche, they swapped the engine round, but you can't do that in GT3 regulations. So what happened was, they essentially, the only thing that's behind the rear axle now is the engine. Everything else is in front. And so they've brought it as far to mid-engine as they possibly can, but it's still a rear-engined, very, very well-evolved VW Beetle. And what they've been able to do with that platform, even in the past 5-10 years, just beggars belief. Porsche engineers, I'm glad that they don't seem to be going to Formula One, because they are absolutely wasted there. Get them in that LMDH car, get them to the World Endurance Championship, and let's see a Porsche at the top of the podium at Le Mans again. Not to mention Porsches in IMSA. Oh, as the Aston gets it wrong again, outbrakes himself. The Porsche's alongside. The Aston Martin, after doing so much work, I did say, pushed it a little bit too hard. I believe those tyres may be a little bit warm on that 55 car, and the Porsche is back in front once again. Consistency is king, and if you believe anything else, then you are wrong. I'm very sorry. Oh god, I need to come up with more facts. There's only so many cars on the track. I mean, we know the Aston Martin has the same engine as the AMG Mercedes, obviously, or it's the same original block. So the throatiness of the Mercedes versus the throatiness of the Aston Martin, the difference between that is actually the difference between a front-engine gearbox, a front-mounted gearbox, and a rear-mounted gearbox. As the Aston Martin looks to the outside again, on the inside up towards. Oh, not all now. Okay, fine. 55 car looks to the inside, but the 130 defends from the outside. Coming down towards Murray's corner. Once again, the 55 car has the inside, but we've already seen that the 130 can hold it around the outside. He gives him space. Oh, a little bit of dirt being kicked up by the Porsche. They are side by side. Just there is still an overlap for the 130 car. Gets on the brakes, tries to hold it around the outside, but there could be a cutback if the 130 car didn't quite outbrake himself that much. I don't think there was quite the traction there. Ivan, did you not know all of that? Am I like a source of information. It's very peculiar. I shall look up more details if that's a thing we enjoy. As Tudich continues to circulate, Baby Godzilla is the name of the team. And this is much more than a Baby Godzilla performance. Zach, meanwhile, up behind the 14 car. We did peak this fight ever so slightly earlier on in the laps. But it looks as though this is a difficult fight for the Ferrari. Oh, as the Porsche's back up underneath the rear wing of the Aston Martin, once again looks to the inside. 55 car can still make the apex though. This fight is going to be going until the end of the race. I have a feeling it might be. And it's just been incredible driving from all concerned. Oh, and the Porsche looks like he's got a better exit as well. This is going to be... I think the Porsche is just going to run out of gears. Oh, this is heartbreaking for Brooker. He looks to the outside. We know the Aston's tried it. But does the Aston actually have the grip? Oh, he does make the corner. What a display by these two. Rear engine Porsche versus the front engine Aston Martin. My goodness, what a fight. Oh, the 296, everything's going to be balanced at BOP to each other. Oh, as the Fright Night, Zach's got a run here against the 14 of Bellato. He has the overlap. There are side by side coming in towards the kink. Just before the chase, the Ferrari is going to seal the deal, but can the Mercedes come back under the brakes? Ferrari leaves the space on the outside as the escape route for the Mercedes. Really conscientious driving there from Nida Zach, having just made the pass, but now Mercedes trying to get back to the inside. Can't make it happen, gets back on the brakes for the Ferrari. And that position defended perfectly by Nida Zach. This is what we expect from ISDA Racing, and this is what we expect from the ISDA drivers. Incredible respect shown by all concerned. It's actually a shame we can't get a replay up of that, because I would love to see the view from the Mercedes actually. Oh, Miljevic at the cutting again, at the dipper, I'm sorry. And I have a feeling that was an incident that started at Skyline. Oh, and Zoricic as well. That is a very different incident. So, is this going to be safety car? I get this awful feeling this should be safety car. That McLaren does not have control. Definitely does not have full control at all. Oh, thankfully he's on the second half of the lap. I'm shocked that the safety car hasn't been called for that. That was an almighty... As the Porsche's back in front as well. Off camera, the 130 has made it back past the Aston Martin. What a fight this is. And to address Ivan's point, The 296 looks like a weapon. Oh, as Zach gets it all wrong, touches the 14. After I was saying how good the driving has been. Oh, heartbreak for both of them. And just behind that fight as well, the Aston Martin closes on the 130. It's neither Zach. Don't quite know if he got that wrong on purpose or by accident. Either way, Tadic makes the position. Ooh, in towards Murray's corner comes the Porsche and the Aston Martin again. There is the slightest of overlaps. The 130 is obviously going to give him space. Brooker, as always, the gentleman, but gets the traction off the corner. You can say all you want about the Porsche's straight line speed, but Brooker is showing it to the Aston Martin. Meanwhile, further round the field, Bellato now on the defensive from a different car entirely, the Aston Martin of Remco Langendijk. Oh, as the Aston Martin looked up the outside. We need 2 cameras. Is what we need. There's too many fights going on. 911's a sit duck on the straight. I totally agree. But it more than makes up for it in the twisties. And the traction off the apex is just second to none. It might be a sitting duck, but it is an armed sitting duck. As the Audi gets off the racing line. I've been. We'll get on it. We'll get on it. In towards the chase they come then. Do they have... It looks as though the Mercedes has survived with not all that much damage. I don't think there was quite a touch on the wall for Dennis there. But we're coming down. There's 3 minutes to go. Porsche's on the defensive, coming down towards Murray's Bend as we come up the mountain straight. It's side by side. Aston Martin's going to try and do the same as what the Porsche did to him last time round. Doesn't work. It is the engine at the back of the Porsche that is giving him that performance. And the 130 can park it on the apex and just leave his acceleration point whenever he wants. As this 4-5-4-way fight makes its way up the mountain. Aston Martin's up the outside on Mountain Straight. Up towards Quarry Bend they come. Aston Martin goes around the outside. He's tried it 3 or 4 times. At one point it was going to have to work. But he put the fear in Brooker for that one, I think. There was not inches between the two of those cars and the inside wall. Not by a long shot. Brooker tried to come up the outside and just misjudged the amount of speed he could take on that compromised line. Bit of side-on-side contact for the two.
Give it a final push.
And that is the thing that we were almost not wanting to hear. As the BMW of Tadic hunts the Aston Martin of Langendijk. Can he get it done on the brakes? Not this time. And he's going to fall back towards Nidazak as well, who's going to take a little bit of grass to try and get to the inside of BMW. BMW sits right in the middle, and that was 2 moves, my friend. Careful. Tries to push the Ferrari over towards the wall, but the Ferrari's going to stick there up the inside. Gets on the brakes as the BMW got it very wrong there. How did Kevin lose like 15 seconds? That's a fair point. That could have been through lap traffic. Oh no. As Tulic made a mistake in the dying moments. It is the final lap. He doesn't need to go far. I was going to say, I wasn't quite sure if that was netcode or if that was... But Stulic now, he does have a lot of damage on that NSX. That was a big moment. Do we have that in an incident? A chance. 34 can't know. We would have to look for that manually. It doesn't matter now. It was going to be a tight fuel race, but through the trials, the tribulations, the Lappery, and the mountain, Kevin Tulic wins in the 34 car for the Baby Godzilla team. Second and closing by a sector in the end was Stulic in the 233. Carlos Stulic will come across the line in second. Zoran Jonic, a third place podium. And this is the fight over 7th. Reduced to just the Mercedes and the Aston Martin. Both the same engines in there, just the chassis that are different. Looks as though the Mercedes is going to hold off unless he makes a very big mistake. And that is going to be all she wrote. So Mattia Mex will take home the 4th position. Dan Minton unable to hunt down that 4th position in the end. Igor Krisnic will make his way to 6th. Dennis Bellato in the 14th. In the 14 car will get as far as 6th position. Brilliant defense in those closing moments. The 36 car of Remco Langdijk will finish 8th. Nida Zak will finish 9th. Sal Tadic will finish 10th, losing out in those closing moments. Matty Miksic in the 96 will finish 11th. Igor Van Coyle will come across the line in 12th. Andy Brooker in the end will lose out in 13th position. Slomina Kostic will come home in 14th. Alavi 189 will be, I think, the final driver to cross the line in 15th. Then Levy, Zoricic, D'Couza, Dunster, Maricic, and Venter will be
this
your...
Is control. Incident between cars 14 and 89. Lap 26, turn 21 and 22 will be investigated after race.
Race control still very hard at work in the race. And my goodness, what a race. What an hour of driving. So, once again, thank you very much, Sim Racing Pro, while we wait for the drivers to, I think, take a breath, get some liquid in them, and get our highlights ready for you to enjoy during the interviews. Please enjoy this ad from our sponsors here at ISDA. Sim Racing Pro, once again, thank you very much for sponsoring this insane content and enjoyable racing that we get to enjoy. I've always said that I love the mountain. I've always said that Bathurst is one of the best tracks in the world. I don't think I've ever had it been distilled and refined to an hour's race like this. As the highlights begin to play, we need to drag into the comm box the first of our podium drivers. Carlos Stulic, a formidable fight for yourself tonight, and given just the golden carrot of opportunity in those dying moments of the race, how was it from your perspective?
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, that was for me.
That was for you, mate.
It was good. I had issues with my Windows yesterday and had to reset all my FFB settings, and I kept the FFB a bit too high on my direct drive. I can't feel anything, but the race went perfectly, better than planned. I had a few hiccups. I didn't learn alternative, how can I say that, braking marker in the last chicane.
Right.
So I missed it on one point and lost like 4 seconds there, but luckily I still kept P2, and then on just kept my focus on, and it was nice.
I'm not gonna say anything, but did you see how much you lost out to the lead by?
Yeah.
I thought you might have picked that number for a reason.
He had a bit of damage, I think he said.
There was a lot of damage as he came across the line. Weirdly, it didn't come up as an incident or anything like that. So we like, all we saw is the timing screens essentially is like he lost 15 seconds and came out of Forest Elbow with just damage everywhere. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. He told me that he had around 45 seconds of damage. I saw that was gaining a lot of time per lap, so I was like wondering what's going on. He has to have some sort of damage, but there was just not enough time. But before that, he drew a hell of a race. He was on another level. He was just way too quick for my pace.
At what point did you give up on, or did you kinda give up on the idea of winning the race?
On the second lap. I knew how quick he was in quali, and in race, so I just have to stay realistic. But then again, P2 is way better than I expected.
Realistic is second. I think that's a pretty decent result by all reasonings, and a brilliant result for yourself.
Yes,
and the
I
rest of the
agree.
team.
Yeah, Zoran especially with the 3 fingers on his left hand. He drew a hell of a race, kept Max somehow behind. And yeah, he's gonna come back.
There we go. I'm gonna grab him in, because I mean the headline is Kevin Tutic won, but the real news is that you guys stole the show. As far as points are concerned.
Are we leading still?
Show stole me.
The headline is Tulic won, but the paragraph underneath says Stulic and Jonic take the lead and dominate the best of the rest. What a race from those 2 NSXs, well, the 3 NSXs, but we'll have a word with Kevin separately, hopefully. We've spoken to Carlo about his race. Zoran, how was your race? That was a bit more work this time than last time out of Monza.
Yeah, a lot more work than last race. I don't know. For the whole week, I wasn't able to kind of get on the real good pace, and this was the result. And in the end, the race setup was, I don't know, not suiting my driving style. Pressures was all over the place, but in the end, driving was bad, I'll say. But super happy with the results, super happy. I was focusing last few laps to stay in front of Max like crazy. I don't know, I need to check what was going on, but this track, or it doesn't suit me, or I'm bad at it, that's it.
I don't think there's anyone, I did say in the commentary, I'll say it again, I don't think there's anyone who is good or bad at the mountain. You either have a day where the mountain loves you, or you have a day where it doesn't.
That's true.
I think we've seen both sides of the mountain today. I think that you guys have done your best to appease it, but in the end, whatever whispering Tutic had done, it's a different personality, isn't it?
Yeah, he was like alien here. Impossible to follow, impossible to get on quali. I think he was over 1 second from me in quali trim. So I know where I'm losing. On this track, but I wasn't able to nail the corners properly, especially the last one before long straight. I was losing the brakes there, so I know it's a problem, but I need to practice more. That's it. But drive from Kevin is another level today. Congratulations to him.
Well, I did kind of have a quick look during the qualifying session. Do you want to know how far off the overall lap record in GT3 cars Mr. Tutic was today?
I don't know.
He was
probably 59 is the record, probably.
He was half a second away.
Yeah, crazy. From a
new what lap record. That's just it. I don't know how many goats he's sacrificed or what whisperings he's done, but whatever he did was what you needed to do to win today. I don't think there was ever really any
no competition from him today. For him today.
Him today. No, I totally agree.
But I have another thing I can blame on. A few days ago, I cut my finger really badly.
I meant to ask about this.
Yeah, I had to go to emergency, and I wasn't able to hold my wheel properly with the left hand, and I was shifting with another finger. So that's probably 1 second loss per lap from me. So I'm sure.
So do we call you old three-fingered Jonic now?
All right. Yeah, it's always something. It's always something.
There's always some excuse.
Yeah.
There you go. But second and third, not bad. Not bad.
Really happy.
For a man with three fingers on his left hand.
Yeah.
No, it was wonderful watching you tonight. You were ever so slightly outclassed as far as the fights were concerned, but a consistent race, getting the points, and I'm sure. Have you come up with another song yet to bring us next time you win?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Good man. Yeah. Good man. I look forward to hearing it next time out. Hopefully, we get to hear that song before the end of the season. And Carlo,
thank you.
Wonderful to meet you. Did I pronounce your surname properly? I hadn't need to ask questions.
Can you try and do it again?
Stulic.
Stulic. It's like
Stulic. It's an SH. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Cool.
If you ask.
Stulic.
But perfect.
It's close enough. It's close enough that you're not going to cringe too hard. That a British
it's closer than it's closer than any of my English friends ever get. So I'm happy.
It's closer than what was it, Jonjic? I can't remember how I started saying Zoran's name.
Something like that.
I don't have a problem with that, so whatever. It's all right. Yeah.
All right. But no, gents, it's been wonderful, and we'll catch you another time.
I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Cheers.
Bye.
Next into the comm box, I don't know if I should bring them both. Sorry, mate, I've just dragged you into the comm box. Next into the comm box, we have another pair of drivers who were fighting tooth and nail at various points in the race. Andy Brooker and Mali Bacho, or Slobodan Kostic.
Hello.
Good evening to you both. You both had very, very hard races, but for different reasons. First, let's start with Andrew, because, my friend, you made that yellow Porsche look golden tonight. You really did.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I didn't have great pace, but yeah, I managed to have a good race today. I really enjoyed it. Battles with Mali and Van Koide. So yeah, kept me busy all the way through the race, and yeah, plenty of fun. And no damage really, so all good.
That's great to hear. No, the first we've been having conversations about just how unlucky you've been with damage that really wasn't your fault and had no right to really to cause you as much pain as you've had over the start of this season. As you say, the Porsche is always going to struggle with straights as long as this. Are you just coming up on the highlights as well? But talk us through this fight with Van Coyle, because that was really fun to watch.
He was ahead of me before the pit stop, and somehow I managed to obviously get out in front of him. But I could tell he had so much more pace than me, and I was just in the mood to have a fight today. I love a fight on track, so I was gonna do my best to keep him behind me, even though I could tell he was quicker. And yeah, like I said, I enjoyed it. I hope he did too. So.
Well, it seems as though you actually, for the most part, you cooked his tyres. He was trying so hard to get past you that what he ended up doing was cooking his tyres. So every time he got past you, he'd get to a braking zone and just wasn't able to hold it on the track anymore.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of times at turn 2 where he went a little wide and allowed me up the inside. Put a smile on my face. It meant the fight could go on a bit longer again. And luckily I managed to avoid him when I was going a bit sideways through the cut-in, because I lost control a bit there.
I was gonna say, you were on the absolute edge of what that car would do tonight. I'm pretty sure we saw more four-wheel slides than we should from a GT3 car.
Yeah, possibly lacking a bit of talent, but yeah.
There's no such thing.
It was fun.
There's no such thing. You obviously did the right sacrifices to have the mountain like you tonight and not chuck you into a wall.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Yeah.
Lovely. Andrew, I won't keep you any longer. It's been wonderful having you. You're always a pleasure to see racing on track, and I hope we start to see you in the top 10 again like we have before.
Thank you, Ike. Yeah, thank you to everyone who helps put on a great show. Yeah, look forward to next week. Can't wait.
Yeah, man. It's going to be great.
See ya.
Have a lovely evening, mate. And we did ever so slightly ignore him for a second, but the driver of the 51, Slobodan Kostic, Malibacho, that was a difficult race, I think.
Yeah, yet another. I was disappointed in Ferrari's pace, but maybe you could take a look at how I attacked Remco here. He's superbly planted here. You can see the white Ferrari here. And the race start was really good for me, even though I did not gain much places, but then I think I tapped Andrew as he was just speaking, and he did not mention, thank God, and I was like, anyone but Brooker, please. So what happened was my misjudgment. He kind of lifted off over the mountain. I was super aggressive and there was a slight block up. Luckily no damage involved in both cars. And yeah, then I spun on the downhill chicane, hurt my rear badly, and had to nurse the car to the pit window. Luckily it was like 10 minutes maybe. And then it was, I was trying to recover. I had front row tickets for the Van Coyle-Brooker fight, and I was shaving around 2 seconds per lap, 2.5 at sometimes. I was waiting so eagerly to get involved, so I went down from 15 seconds to 1.5, the gap up at the finish. So yeah, 1 or 2 more laps and it would have been a 3-way.
So another 15 minutes, half an hour of racing, and it would have been an even better race.
Yeah, well, I saw that I had a better pace than both, but you know, it's getting past here that is so tricky. Yeah. And Ferrari is not very nicely built.
No, of course. But how is it driving amongst the rabble? You enjoying it still?
Yes, I loved it. I was waiting so heavily for the... Oh, there's a highlight here. A nice pass around the outside. I love this one. It was beautiful. And yeah, I was waiting so eagerly for the safety car, but I was surprised how the race was clean, at least from what I could see.
Yeah. If and when you watch the stream back, there was a point where my brain was like, there should be a safety car with like 7 minutes to go, but it was held back. So
yeah, I think what surprised me the most was I think lap 1 and lap 2 both without a single yellow flag.
Yeah.
So
there was a couple of drivers went off, but the first couple of laps were absolutely spotless. What a save by Mixic here.
Yeah, I saw this also. I think I'm a few positions back. I saw this happen. I was like, guys, from all the places on track, you make a mistake here.
Yeah. But oh man, no, this race had absolutely everything. I genuinely go back and watch it because it's just. You thought it was exciting from your seat. I had to sit here and watch you all having all that fun.
Oh yeah, but you had a better perspective then.
Yeah, but that's not the point, is it? We're all drivers here. I think I've said this before many times, but even Yankees, who's been controlling the cameras tonight, like we're all racing drivers. We all like to race. We all enjoy driving, and so being able to see races that come out like this, where we get really complex battles and strategies and pit window and things like that, it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's lovely, and I can't wait to rewatch the stream. Honestly, I always rewatch it. So,
oh man, you're in for a treat. You're in for a treat, and nothing to do with me. Mally, you've been a gem as always. It's so nice to be able to speak to you from opposite sides of the on-track action again. I think, how long has it been since I've been able to do this? Grief.
Yeah.
So
quite a long time.
It's been a while. Well, you have a good rest of your evening, and we'll catch you another time. All right.
Thank you. You too.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Next, we have to have a very quick word to one of the drivers of the day, possibly the man who had to attack the most through the entirety of the race, Mr. Van Coyley. Welcome to the Combox.
Thanks. I would say the second part of the race I was the one attacking the most, but not the first one.
No, the second part of the race is pretty much what sticks in my head. You and Brooker, that's one of the fights, like in ISDA history. I think the amount of times you guys passed each other and were side by side. Talk us through your race, and let's have a bit of a focus down on that fight with Brooker, because it's going to be a very complicated fight. That.
Yeah, the first half was quite bad. Well, I could follow, but I had 13 seconds of damage. So I repaired that, and because of repairing that, I came out of the pits behind Brugger. But then, it was just, I came out less than a second behind him, and then it was just trying to push him to make a small mistake or find an opportunity. And I think I got lucky with being in the Aston, because I had much higher top speed than he had. So that's how I was able to pass him 3 times. Yeah. And
but it all went wrong. It looks as though you were cooking your tires or your brakes or something in the
I just overshot my braking point 2 times because I wasn't used to deciding my own braking point into turn 2. Because the entire race I was behind somebody else for that corner. And then suddenly I had to find it myself, and then I just overshot it twice. Also with the pressure of Brooker keeping up with me, which I didn't... Well, I had hoped to pull a gap immediately, but he was staying on me like crazy, so...
Yeah.
But I think my final move was one of the best ones I did, so...
I was watching the entire battle on my screen. It's just absolutely astonishing how these two completely different recipes of car, if that makes sense, can fight so well together.
Yeah, it's true. I think, in the corners, I think he had more wings, so on the mountain he had an advantage. So I had to go like a maniac to follow him and to try to take a gap there, because if he was in my slipstream, he could keep up, but he couldn't pass me. But when I was behind him, I got at the back straight. I gained like half a second. But I had to be on him really close to be able to pass him breaking into the chicane.
Yeah. Yeah. We just got that part of that fight. We just went through the stream as well, side by side through the chase.
Yeah.
Just absolutely astonishing, and so much respect from both of you as well. There's something that I've always admired about your driving is you have a knowledge of your car, where your car is on the grid, and how wide it is, and who can fit beside you, and that sort of thing. Basically, no contact through the entirety of that fight.
I think we touched once.
Yeah,
also in the second corner slightly,
once
but
in the early cutting.
That's part of it.
Yeah,
that's part of it.
But very, very little damage, and yeah, very, very little damage, and a lot of very close and competent and brilliant fighting. So hats off for making the race direction very, very difficult in the second half of the race.
Oh yeah, thanks. No worries about that.
No, it's a wonderful problem to have, and it's wonderful to finally be able to finally speak to you.
Yeah.
I think I might have spoken to you once before, but I can't.
Not sure.
Not on stream for sure. But
I don't know. Yeah, to be honest, I don't know.
Igor Van Coily? I hope that I'm pronouncing your name correctly as well.
Well, the first name it's okay. The last name it's Kwali. So that's it.
Oh, it's just Kwali.
Yeah.
Igor Kwali.
Van Kwali, yeah.
Van Kwali, right.
Yes.
I shall fix it for the next race.
No worries, mate.
Right, cool. Igor, it's been lovely speaking to you. You have a lovely rest of your evening.
Thank you, you too.
A very big drink of water, I can imagine.
I already had that, so.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, you have a lovely rest of your evening, and we'll speak to you next time.
Thanks. Bye.
Cheers. Next into the combox, we have a name that I don't recognise. Livingston, just confirm. Mr. Levy?
Yeah, that's me, yeah.
Hello, mate. How's it going? Very different and difficult fight through the field for you tonight. How was it from your perspective?
I wouldn't say really exciting. I mean, it was really exciting for sure, but my plan was different for tonight. I got taken out on the first corner. I think 2 cars were down there, and I was there also. And I actually carried a damage of something like 15 seconds for the whole race. Plus, like Mali said, Ferrari is not pleasant here at all. It doesn't like the bumps, it doesn't like the mountain at all, so it was really harsh, yeah. And eventually I became last at one point. I had to recover with some kind of overcut to a McLaren. I don't remember who that was, so sorry. But then I also figured out I need to save fuel because I miscalculated some stuff, so I had to back off a little bit to get lapped. Which is an old trick, but also a shame, you know?
Yeah, that's all right. I've done it before. I had to do it at Sebring after doing like 48 minutes in a DPI car, which it shouldn't do.
Oh yeah.
So no, I know that feeling entirely.
Yeah, I had to play with the maps. At some point, I had to use map 10 from 1 to save fuel as well, which is super slow, and it was like a walk of shame for the last 10 minutes or so. So it was different.
But you got to the end, which is
I did, yeah. It was my plan was to finish at some point because I figured, okay, I'm not gonna pass anyone. I don't want to get passed, so let's maintain whatever you got, and that was it. Actually, at some point, I was trying to. But the overcut was working. I did pass two cars, I guess, and actually got 15 seconds behind Mali, number 51. And I figured maybe, okay, we're both Ferraris, and maybe he's fast, but I'm also with new tires, like a fresh stint. I might catch him up, but he was really quick. Like, he did great with the Ferrari. I didn't, so that was our difference, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was yeah, you'll have to watch the stream back. It was a complicated race and really difficult to pick out where to watch.
Yeah, I imagined. I like my hope was to get it even more complicated so I can catch up to people that I wanna catch up. Basically, my plan was to get some points, so a P15 was at least my goal, but I figured that wasn't gonna work out, so I finished P16, I suppose. Like I said, it was unfortunate to get in a crash, but nonetheless, I wasn't that really fast. It was really hard to find the setup as well. The car was really understeery, like from the beginning, from the very first time I tried to practice here. So I had to like loosen up the back end of the car. It was really hard, so I had to like tighten it up again because I was crashing constantly. I couldn't control the car. So yeah, as you can see on the highlight, I was actually trying to catch up number 4 right there.
Yeah.
With the Ferrari, but then after that I lost out much more pace than I imagined with the damage as well. So yeah, that was that's just a summary of the whole night.
Yeah. Next time we're going to Nürburgring. Is that a track that you know well?
I know it. I just don't like it that much because of the high curbing. Because high curbing is really not my type. But we'll see. You never know. Maybe it will be even in an even more complicated race, so I can like see through and get out and have some points.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if the Nürburgring brings another complicated and exciting race. Race, and a 2-hour one as well. So plenty of time to make a strategy work and see if you can make some places up that way as well.
Yeah, see, that's I'm kind of anxious of because 2 hours is never easy with one driver as well, and I don't feel super ready for a 2-hour race, but I get a week, right, for the next race, so I might
we
get
got
ready.
a week until next race,
Yeah. So I'll see. I'll check it out. I'll try to find a good setup and come back. I hope to have a better week than this one.
Yeah, hopefully. Before you go,
Yeah.
I do this to everybody just to make sure I'm pronouncing their names right. How do I pronounce your name properly?
Did you say Levi? Because...
No, I didn't. I said Levy.
Oh, you did use Levy, which is humbled. It's the correct one. Thank you
cool.
very much.
Cool. So first name is...
My first name is Izel. And,
Cool.
and
okay.
my last name is Levy, but just because of the curse of the eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely fine. So, Izel Levy. I can do that. That's fine. That's a name that I can definitely pronounce.
That's cool. That's actually pretty cool.
Izel, it's been wonderful to speak to you. It's as I say, I always say at the end of most broadcasts, I say get involved because you never know, you could be sitting talking to me at the end of your first ISDA race, and here you are.
Actually, this is my second one, but
I know. Second race, that's fine. We nearly got your first race, but you come and speak to us for the second race. How was it? How was the being interviewed? You gonna stick around?
Being interviewed was amazing, actually. Being in a race that is getting streamed is also amazing. So yeah, I'll stick around.
Good. Izel Levy, thank you for being part of ISDA, and you have a
thank
lovely
you for having me.
No, it's my pleasure. Honestly, every time I speak to a driver, it makes me want to drive more.
Yeah.
So there you go. Have a lovely evening, my friend, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Cheers. And I think that is just about everybody through. That was by far and away one of the most exhilarating and complex and wonderful races I've ever had the pleasure to commentate. I hope that for all the drivers it was just as good to be a part of it. Next time the International Sim Driver Association goes to Germany and we go to the home of German motorsport at the Nürburgring. Until then, have a very good week, everybody. Be excellent to each other, and we will see you then. Goodbye.